Hey, good Wednesday morning, everyone. This is Mitch. Hope you guys are having a great start to your day and a great week so far. Got back last night around, I would say, going to say 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time from chasing. The original plan was actually to get a hotel, but I had a little bit of leftover energy, so I was able to just drive through most of the night and get back home. Got about 5 hours of sleep, so I'm feeling okay. The plan today is to chase also. I don't know how aggressive I'm going to get as far as how far I'm going to drive, but the plan is to chase. But there is severe weather expected today. The Carolinas, even a portion of the Ohio Valley, and everywhere in between, you can see a tornado threat, a smaller tornado threat, a hail threat, and damaging winds. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. If you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. And obviously, our prayers are up for everybody affected by, especially that tornado that hit areas of just west of New Orleans last night. You know, it was looking like the event was definitely going to underperform there for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it ramped up just as the sun went down for certain areas, even areas just north of Mobile, Alabama. Saw some tornado action last night. So I haven't heard any reports of any deaths as of now. Maybe I just haven't read the right sources, but there's a lot of damage. So hopefully no reports of any deaths come out quickly. Guys, I want to remind you that, I want to say how much I appreciate the people who actually donated to my chase, and whether it was actually a donation to my chase, but there was people who really helped out yesterday, and I want to just name a couple names. I got them over here. Tanya Baszler, Michael Turner, Jennifer Kinser, and JJ Rush. If I messed up your names, I do apologize, but those are 4 people that donated over the last 24 hours. And I want to tell you guys, you guys basically paid for that entire trip. And as expensive as gas is, even with my Mazda, every time I filled up, it was about $45 a pop, and I had to fill up about 4 times. And this is all passion driven. It's not necessarily something I have to do. I can just talk weather in front of my computer. So, that's something that I enjoy doing, is chasing the weather. So you guys that did that, it means a lot. You're basically giving money to somebody and basically saying, hey, man, go out there and enjoy what you do. So I really appreciate it. I just want to, say that. And I appreciate people who tuned in, and just watched my content over the last 24 hours. And I just appreciate the ongoing support. I'm big on showing appreciation, so I want to throw that out there. But let's get going. About 2.5 minutes in. I know I got a lot of probably mumblers out there like, dude, just get on with the video. But let's get rolling here. So there's a slight risk. We're just talking about weather for today. We'll break down what's going on later this evening if I have a little bit of time. Depends on how late I get back. But slight risk up, stretching from the panhandle of Florida. This is mainly ongoing what's going on right now. And then going through, southeast Georgia and then a portion of the Carolinas. There's a slight risk up here, too, in response to the low pressure pivoting through. Cold core storms are possible with this. There's a tornado threat also. You look at the tornado threat, 5% risk up here. This includes areas like Columbus, Ohio, almost Cincinnati, not quite, but it includes areas like Charleston, West Virginia. And then down here to the southern region, you got Raleigh, North Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, Savannah, Charleston, everybody in between. So, there's obviously a wind threat here and a hail threat, but the hail threat looks to be mainly up here where you got that cold core storms where you got more cold air aloft. So let's get going. Let's check out what is going on with the southeast really quick. So you got a lot of cloud cover. There's a lot of rain this morning that's helping to stabilize the atmosphere. See all these clouds right here? Here's our system. And then you got more thin clouds back here with the sun starting to come out over portions of Alabama, even probably portions of northwest Georgia. So we watch to see how quickly this clears out for the Carolinas. If it clears out quickly in the Georgia and the Carolinas and Virginia, then you're going to have more of a severe weather threat. And basically, with a stabilized atmosphere with a cloud covering the rain, like I said, it helps stabilize the atmosphere. But then the instability builds when you start to see that sun poking out. And, a lot of humid air. There's a moist sector running through Georgia. So you're going to notice here in the Carolinas, basically anybody in the Carolinas, that it's going to get more and more humid throughout the day. So we'll mention that here. You check this out. Humidity, dew points well into the 60s as of right now. Well, this is as of right now. Dew points rising well into the 60s, well into North Carolina, even into Virginia. So this is the moist sector. This is in response to this cold front moving through, and then moist air rising ahead of it out the south here. And then you're going to have a low-level jet right here pushing, anywhere from 40 to 50, maybe 60 knots in areas. So the kinematics are there, but then you look at things like Cape. So what's the Cape looking like? Well, this is very important in this setup if you are if you're going to have a huge outbreak of storms. So what you see here is, we'll back this up. Let's go on and back this up a little bit right here. You see here early on during the day, and this is around, early mid-afternoon hours. You have some convective energy building right here. This is surface-based CAPE, reaching 500,000 joules per kilogram, and then the sun starts breaking out right here. And you can tell it does because the instability builds down here in eastern Georgia and then western sections and upstate of South Carolina. This is when the supercells can really develop here. It takes advantage of the little bit of kinematics at place, that deep level shear. You're going to have a lot of shear. Low level jet's going to be ripping up above the Carolinas here. You notice you're waking up in the Carolinas. You look up in the sky, the clouds are racing by out from the south. That is your low level jet. Around a mile up in the atmosphere, you got them low-level clouds moving in one direction, and then higher up above that, you got clouds and winds moving in another direction. That puts a little bit of a spin to the atmosphere, depending on how aggressive the directional shear is. But look at these CAPE values reaching 1,000, 1,500 joules per kilogram. So where does these supercells develop? It's a big question here, but I really think someone could see a tornado warning or two today. Will somebody see an all-out tornado in the Carolinas or Virginia? It's a big question here, but I can tell you the HRRR model is everywhere. It doesn't know where it wants to put the nastiest weather, but I'll show you the latest one, literally the one that just came out. We'll start this about mid-morning right now. Rain moving through the Carolinas, nothing too crazy. This is where the clearing can occur, right here in the Carolinas up into Virginia. When this happens, instability builds, destabilizes the atmosphere. Therefore, you look around here in central South Carolina, you got a little bit of storm action starting to develop here also in eastern areas of Georgia. And you notice a little kidney bean look to it, that little hook. So it tells you that there is going to be maybe some broad rotation in a lot of these storms. But will it make its way to the ground? Being in Alabama and Mississippi yesterday, I saw that a lot. I was right under a radar indicated rotation, but it was just not reaching the ground. It looked like from the eye that it was like a rain wrap wedge tornado, but it really wasn't. It was just a rapid uprising and lowering, if that makes sense. So it looked like a giant cloud that was very low to the ground, but there was a lot of rapid motion in the clouds, and that's just basically not necessarily a funnel cloud, but it's a broad rotation, which is what you see with a lot of storms. They have a hard time. There's so many dynamics to go into severe weather. It's not just instability, a low-level jet, kinematics, temperatures, dew points, and things like that. There's a lot more that goes into it. There's what's spinning at different levels of the atmosphere. So I feel like severe weather is the hardest thing to really master in the weather world. I can tell you that from experience, as out of the three main weather things, winter weather, hurricanes, and severe weather. Severe weather is probably my least knowledgeable subject, but it's all learning. You take in knowledge from everybody. But here you go. Excuse me, got a little phlegm on my throat. Storms are moving through here, and you notice the instability builds right into this region. And you got to watch all these little cells. They have a chance to produce severe weather, all hazards on the table. And then you watch these nasty storms starting to move into the sandhills of North Carolina as you get into about the mid-afternoon hours. But there's still storm development down here in Augusta, for example. So you have to watch. To see what happens. Supercells also showing up in Virginia. So it's going to be hard. It's hard for me to pinpoint one area in the Carolinas and Virginia where these supercells are going to be the worst, or where the storms are going to be the worst, because the models are everywhere. It's bouncing back and forth, or where they think there's going to be development. And I think that's because the models are struggling, trying to figure out if the atmosphere is going to destabilize or not. So I do expect showers and storms all throughout the day, basically all the way until it gets dark outside. So let's look up here in the Ohio Valley really quick. I don't want to ignore you guys, because I really think that you guys could see some nasty storms also. Now, I think these storms will be lacking in that convective energy you need. Dew points will not be as favorable, the thermodynamics you need, but kinematics will be there. And I really think there'll be a lot of hail with these storms in Ohio. Watch out, especially eastern Ohio, but even western Ohio. There's going to be certain areas of storms that are going to develop here. So watch out here. That's why you have a slight risk up here. Is probably more so hail-driven, but there is also a 5% risk of a tornado. And what I've seen lately is a lot of times that the cold core storms in these setups, they really produce. They're normally weak, noodle-like tornadoes that really don't do a whole lot of damage, but they do produce. And if that weak, noodle-like tornado happens to hit your specific area, then it's going to do damage. So be weather aware in Ohio, western areas of Pennsylvania today, basically the entire eastern portion of the Ohio Valley because the storms could be dangerous, large hail. I mean, look at this storm as you're getting into the evening hours here in southeast Ohio, from the HRRR model. It's just a model run. It's not really going to tell you exactly where a storm's going to form. But that little storm right there, for example, that looks like a dangerous little storm. So be careful today across the entire eastern U.S. Stormy day. Is it comparable to yesterday or the day before? Probably not, but probably not even close. But you never know. These are tricky setups. A lot of times they underperform, but when they overperform, they catch a lot of people off guard. So stay safe out there. Stay weather ready and pay attention to updates. I'll try to be out there a little bit today. I don't know how far I'm willing to drive. But God bless everybody. Stay safe, and I'll talk to y'all this evening.